The other phone worth discussing at the high end is the HTC 10, which manages to best the Galaxy S7 in at least a few areas. In terms of audio quality, design, showy MUI, and other areas like perceptual latency, I would argue that HTC is just clearly ahead of Samsung. HTC also has proper USB 3.1 and USB-C support, which does make the device more future-proof than the Galaxy S7's microSD connector in that regard. The front-facing camera is also just clearly better on the basis of having the IS and optics that can actually focus on a subject instead of being set to infinity at all times. However, Samsung is clearly ahead in display and its camera is clearly the fastest I've ever seen in any phone, bar none. Samsung is also just clearly shipping better Wi-Fi implementations right now in terms of antenna sensitivity and software implementation, along with IP68 water resistance and magstripe payments for the US and South Korea. Overall, I think it's pretty fair to say that the HTC 10 is a solid choice. If I had to pick between the two, I would probably lean towards the HTC 10, but this is based upon personal priorities. I don't think you can really go wrong between the two. The HTC 10 with 32 GB of internal storage is currently $549 USD when bought unlocked through HTC and comes in carbon gray, glacial silver, Camariat red, and topaz gold. Unfortunately, the Redmi Note 3 Pro, like most phones made by Chinese OEMs, is not sold in the US and does not support the LTE frequencies used by US carriers. Instead, US consumers must choose from a number of underwhelming phones such as the LG X Power and its Snapdragon 212 social that uses for Cortex-A7 CPU cores not even A53s and 1.5 GB of RAM. The Huawei Honor 5X cannot match the Redmi Note 3 Pro's performance or photo quality, but it remains a solid option for the US despite being almost a year old. Even the recently released Moto G4 and G4 Play really do not bring anything new. The Honor 5X recently received a long-awaited update to Android 6.0 and EMUI 4.0 and is still available for about $200. The OnePlus 3, with its list of impressive hardware at a reasonable price, is still our upper mid-range choice. The Motorola Moto Z Play Droid is about the same price and includes a nice display, a good camera, and a large battery, not to mention support for Moto mods such as the Hercel Black True Zoom mod, but its 8 Cortex-A53 CPU cores and Adreno 506 GPU cannot offer the same level of performance as the OnePlus 3's Snapdragon 820 social. The Moto Z Play Droid also comes with less RAM, 3 GB less internal storage, 32 GB, and lacks 802.11 ACWI Fi. Its little brother, the Moto G4 Plus, costs less than the OnePlus $3.299 for 4 GB of RAM and 64 GB of internal NAND, but again falls short of the OnePlus 3's overall user experience. Huawei's Honor 8 is another contender that costs the same as the OnePlus 3 and is available in the US and internationally. It also has a smaller 5.2-inch display, giving it the smaller footprint than the OnePlus 3, although its heavily blue-tinted screen may turn some people off. General system performance is on par with the OnePlus 3, but its Mali D880MP4 GPU cannot match the Adreno 530's peak performance in the OnePlus 3. The OnePlus 3's Oxygenos also does not stray as far from stock Android as the Honor 8's EMUI skin, resulting in a very different user experience between the two phones. Although which approach is better comes down to user preference. The build quality of the OnePlus 3 is excellent. Its 16MP rear camera with PDAF and OIS takes nice photos, and its Snapdragon 820 social delivers good performance. It also includes 64 GB of internal UFS 2.0 NAND storage but no microSD slot, and the usual array of wireless connectivity options including NFC, something the OnePlus 2 lacked. The OnePlus 3 comes in only one configuration and costs $399. With a 5.5-inch 1080p AMOLED display, it could also serve as a less expensive option for our affordable category, along with the Moto Z Play Droid. Our previous pick, Samsung's Galaxy Note 5, is still the top of the Note range because of the Note 7's early retirement. Despite its age, it's still a great phone. Its 5.7-inch 2560 x 1440 SAM OLED display is still one of the best available, with excellent black levels, reasonably good brightness, and several different display modes ranging from a very accurate sRGB mode to a couple of wider gamut modes with more vivid colors. Its 16MP rear camera with PDAF and OIS is also very good. The Note 5S Exynos 7420 Social may not top the performance charts anymore, but it's still plenty quick, and the 4GB of LPDDR4 gives Samsung's memory-hungry TouchWiz UI some extra room to work. Speaking of TouchWiz, it still has some questionable design elements, and it suffers from some performance hiccups that make the UI feel less fluid, but it does include some useful foothold features, including the ability to shrink the whole screen by pressing the home button 3 times, the option to use a smaller keyboard for one-handed thumb typing, and the two-pane multi-window feature that allows you to work in 2 apps at the same time. There's also the S Pen and the additional functionality it provides. Just do not stick it back into its silo backwards or you'll have to break the phone to get it back out. For those looking for a more modern choice, or who want a slightly smaller phone, there's Samsung's Galaxy S7 Edge, with its 5.5-inch 2560 x 1440 SAM OLED display that's every bit as good as the Note 5S. Its 12MP rear camera with OIS and an f/1.7 aperture captures great pictures, especially in low light, and the improved Phase Detect autofocus PDAF is the best available. Battery life is also quite good thanks to a 3600 mAh battery. The rest of its hardware and features are shared with the smaller Galaxy S7, including IP68 dust and water protection and wireless charging. As far as specs go, the Galaxy S7 comes in 2 versions. Both have 5.1-inch 2560 x 1440 SAM OLED displays, 32GB or 64GB of UFS 2.0 NAND, 4GB of LPDDR4 memory, a 12MP Sony IMX260 camera with the f/1.7 aperture, and a 3000 mAh battery. Depending on where you live, you'll either get Qualcomm's Snapdragon 820 or Samsung's Exynos 8890 Social, both of which use custom ARM CPU cores. More specifically, the US, Japan, and China versions receive Snapdragon 820, while the rest of the world gets Exynos 8890. Regardless of which Galaxy S7 you get, you'll be getting the best hardware that Samsung has to offer. The Galaxy S6 was a good phone, but it was not perfect. The S7 addresses several of these shortcomings with a more ergonomic design, a larger battery, support for microSD cards, and the return of IP68 dust and water protection. While the rest of the planet is awash with lower-cost phones containing decent hardware, it's difficult to recommend the budget smartphone for the US market. Take the Xiaomi Redmi Note 3 Pro, for example. Its Snapdragon 650 Social contains 2 high-performance Cortex-A72 CPU cores running at up to 1.8 GHz and 4 Cortex-A53 cores at up to 1.4 GHz, which easily outperforms the standard octa-core A53 Socials common at this price point. Its performance is really quite remarkable, rivaling some upper mid-range and flagship devices. The Adreno 510 GPU supports the latest graphics APUs, including support for tessellation, and is fast enough to play most games currently available. Battery life is excellent too, thanks in part to a large 4050 mAh battery. There's even an infrared blaster and support for 802.11 AC WI-FI and FM radio. Of course, some sacrifices need to be made to reach such a low price. The Redmi Note 3 Pro's weakest component is its 5.5-inch 1080p IPS display, whose poor black level and inaccurate white point and gamma calibration hurt image quality. The panel's backlight does not fully cover the sRGB gamut, which further reduces color accuracy. While not perfect, it clearly moves the bar higher in this segment and raises our expectations for future lower-cost phones.